We will get into the big talking point of this podcast, though, now, which is the match that occurred at Optus Stadium on Sunday between WA and Vic Metro. Vic Metro getting the job done comfortably enough in the end, but WA certainly threw a punch at them in the first half, Nathan.
Yeah, they did. I did say to you off the record, I reckon WA will knock off one of the Vic teams, and obviously now that looks like it would have to be Vic Country. My questions were, and WA, to their credit, have been very good defensively, and I thought Metro would struggle a little to find that balance because they've only played the one game compared to WA's 3, and they've got a good idea of, at that point, where they match up against. They've played 2 before Vic Metro, but yeah, they were down by 4 points at half time and then brought it home, 8 goals to 3 in that second half, and it was class that really just lifted. It did feel like Metro at some point were going to figure it all out and click, and they did. So a big win for Metro. They go for 2 from 2, but let's roll into the top players. I want to start who got our 5 in the 5-4-3-2-1, which was Isaac Kako.
Yep.
This was, I guess, when we had discussions of who should get 5 and why them over them. Jagger is probably the other one that people are like, how does he not get 5? Isaac Kako doesn't play a better game than that. And not saying he doesn't have the capability. He did everything he possibly could as a small forward, as a rolling up into the midfield. He did everything so well, so effective. He's so damaging and crafty. The only downside of his game was he kicked one goal.
Yeah, that's the only thing I was going to say. Could he have kicked 2 or 3 or 4?
But and then I was like, well, if he never did what he did rolling up higher up the ground, well, Metro are quite
a lot of score involvements for Isaac Kako.
But he was electric. I mean, I thought his handballing ability as well had some really crafty handballs. Yeah, like to advantage when he's going the other direction, things like that. But he was terrific. I thought I don't think he will play a better game than that. Not to say he won't reach those standards again, but that was exceptional. Just thrived. A big occasion for these boys as well on Optus. I mean, that's an AFL ground that could have possibly been, apart from the boys who played on the G last year, but big occasion for a lot. But he just lifted, big time player.
Yeah, certainly, and I don't think anyone's surprised to see it either. And the unselfishness was something else that stood out. We talk about how many he passed off with the handballing and the like. We'll stay in the forward line and we'll move line by line.
Yeah.
I thought the other obvious forward that had a day out was Tom Sims, and probably one who really elevated his stocks in this game more than any other player. Coming into the game, we know he had the bag of 7 and I think another bag of 5 this year against Oakley and against Western, respectively. He showed he could do it on the biggest stage with his contested marking, a couple of really big one-on-one marks, just reads the flight of the ball so well and was a barometer for his team up forward. Finished with 3 goals, 3, but it felt like a 5-goal performance in terms of his importance to the way Metro structured up inside 50.
100%. And I said this to you before, he is almost like a ruckman playing full forward because that height is almost unbeatable. His one-on-one ability, when he gets a hold of his opponent physically, he's going to get these first hands to it in the air, and that's what he did most of the time. And yeah, I felt like 3 goals wasn't even reflective of how dominant he was.
And the other thing that he did, you say he obviously has that ability to go into the ruck, and I thought it was what he was doing as a secondary ruck in the first quarter, which really set the tone for his day, and then obviously what he was able to do up forward throughout the day was really impressive as well. The other one that was almost as good as them but wasn't quite able to convert but could easily have had a real statement day, I thought, was Jesse Detoli. He finished with the 1 goal 4 and took some really nice marks. There was a big hanger that he took on the pain of 50 and was really damaging. We know how many tricks he does have in terms of his different avenues to goal and that sort of thing. And I thought he did really show it, although he wasn't quite able to always finish. And he always looks dangerous with the ball in his hand because of how creative he can be going forward.
The other one I'd probably add to that didn't really come into it until the second half was Harry Armstrong. And it was one moment that, if you look back in a couple months' time and you say, what's the draftable aspects of him? It was a 3-on-1 effort, right on 50. And he just outsmarts them all,
and kicks the goal.
Yeah, and kicks the goal. There was a great goal from about 45 metres out. Took about 2 steps, and it bounces through. And it was just and a few courageous moments across the ground as well. So whilst the impact wasn't massive across 4 quarters, I just thought those little moments, they make a player sometimes, and they add to your draftability. So yeah, he'd probably be the last one I'd add in that forward group, unless you've got another one.
No, I think they were the main ones. We'll touch on the WA players after we've been through each of the lines of Vic Metro, but certainly Harry Armstrong showed probably what he was able to do in that weekend of that first Vic Metro game when he was playing for Oakley, kicked the 4 goals on the Friday night. Of course, he won the game after the siren for Sandy, and then coming into the team was able to show he could do it at the next level. We'll move into the midfield now. Jagger Smith, the obvious talking point. He was everywhere, and we've come to expect it from him, but he's one that is elevating by the week, it feels like, because obviously the 50 disposal game, the 40 disposal game, really strong start to the championships, and I actually thought this game was a little bit better than his first game. I did have him as best on ground. We obviously gave him second best on ground once we did discuss it on the Instagram channel, and really, really important in terms of his ball use as well. He always hit his targets, it felt like, whether he was under pressure or he had some space to work with.
I thought the thing about his game that, again, just as a player, it was his dare for his kicking into the middle of the ground. Yeah. He's not afraid. He just kind of has that ability where he's like, you know what, I'll take it on. That I know that I can chase that up later if it goes bad. Yeah. But his kicks are so effective where you just know that when he's got the ball in hand, he's going to use it so well. And there's never anything negative you write about him. I don't know about you. Yeah. I don't feel like I've written anything negative about him so far. I should also clarify, our 5-4-3-2-1 are a combination of our votes that I average out.
Yeah.
And that's how you've had Jagger top, I had Kako top, and a few others. So if you do wonder, we do have different opinions on different things, but we do average, and that's how we get to the Instagram post. Who do you want to move to next?
I'll speak about Levi Ashcroft, then you can talk about Christian Moraes, but I'll start with Levi Ashcroft. I thought he was really smart and really unselfish. He was willing to... There was a moment where he was inside 50 and time just seemed to slow down. He was able to hit up a target. I reckon it was Tom Sims. And I thought that sort of embodied the way Levi Ashcroft has played throughout the season, his ability to make decisions, his ability to make space where there wasn't any. And I thought he was one of the most influential players on the ground. I know you thought a similar thing about Christian Moraes' game. Yeah,
I did, and I thought he was always that kind of just that tier under the top on the day, but it was his work on the outside, his speed and ability to be so nifty in tight situations, kept the ball moving when he could, set up a goal, I think it was in the second half, with just a really quick handball over the top to Murphy Reid, and it was an easy finish, but it was just his game awareness to understand that Murphy Reid was right there in a scoreable position when some players might think, well, let's try and snap this and get the goal myself. But thought he did the little things well. Probably went not unrewarded. It was just he didn't have as much of the ball as those top midfielders, but every time he touched it, I did think he was doing something quite valuable with it, whether it was meters gained or just really clean disposal in transition. So he was one that I had possibly is in the lower end of my votes, but I mean the performances of some others come the end of that game just kind of lifted. But he was one that I'd have in that 5 to 10 category.
Yeah, and it was a good game for that sort of thing, because I think Kako, Sims and Smith were the clear standouts. We both had them as our top 3, albeit in different orders. And then below that, you could basically throw a blanket over the next 10. There were so many that had their moments, which was really good to see. The next one we'll move to is Murphy Reid, who played another game that added to his CV in terms of that composure and that ability to release teammates by hand and release them going out the front of stoppage, which I thought was really smart in terms of his ability to weight handballs perfectly for his teammates to run onto it. You see Nick Dacos do it, and I thought Murphy Reid was able to do it at times as well. I think that was really impressive, and clearly, when he gets the opportunity to use it on the outside, he's really smart.
Yeah, I like that comparison to Nick Dacos, actually. I feel the running patterns there are very similar, where they assess the game on the run, and when they got the ball in hand, that next move is always just premeditated in their head. But he was just, his vision is just terrific around the ground. Even his kicking up the line, it's so so particular, so precise, and always just gets the ball moving so quickly. Love the way he went about it. He always seems to finish in the top 5. Just naturally with the impact he has. I'm assuming he's one that would end up in the coaches' votes pretty much every week. He executes what he needs to so well.
Having a good season, as is Josh Smiley. Probably a little bit quieter in the first couple of games of the champs, but I thought his second half was quite strong and he showed his class. Obviously a big-bodied bull and had some really nice moments, but that probably just about rounds out the midfield side of things from Vic Metro, I would have thought. We'll move to the back line, and I was really impressed with the back line. I thought, as a whole, the back line was the most balanced line out of the 3 for Vic Metro. You had Harrison Oliver. I know you were really high on his game and his pressure and efficiency was really strong. You had Adrian Cole, who hardly lost a one-on-one all day. You had Luke Traynor, who's just become that real trusty defender who can take intercept marks at ease. You had Zach Johnson, who took the game on by foot and showed a bit of dairy, showing his versatility as well. Luca Grego was one who applied really good pressure and showed his hardiness in terms of his ability to win the hard ball, but then also his dare to burst out and try to make things happen going through the corridor a couple of times. And Jaden Ewan came into the game in the second half really clean and hit the ball at pace. I thought it was a really balanced effort from the back 6 or 7 for Vic Metro.
You've summed that up very well. What I'm going to add to what you said is, if I had to pick someone that showed a good glimpse of why they are draftable and a bit of an improvement from recent weeks, would be Adrian Cole, because the thing I've noticed with him is when it comes to forwards that have a little bit of speed, that's where he lacks a little bit to meet his opponent in a one-on-one and create those spoils. He's great when it comes to body work, but it's that speed that's probably let him down. But I felt like he was always getting himself in the right spots where he wasn't finding himself too far ahead or behind the ball, and really read the ball terrifically. A few good defensive spoils, or whether that was intercept marks. I thought he just kind of improved a little bit from what we've seen at Talent League level recently, and to do it on that type of stage was quite terrific. But I'm not going to add to what you've added because you've summed it up well. Just anything you want to say about Harrison Oliver? I know you're probably a lot higher on his game than I was. Let me find his name. Yeah. No, it's just his work rate. Like you see a player who is that willing to push back or forward no matter what it takes. His defensive pressure is elite, and like, I will love a player if you've got terrific defensive outset, whether you're a midfielder, forward, defender. That's just a key to really slotting in any AFL environment or team. And yeah, he worked up late inside 50 as well for a really nice goal. That I think that wrapped up his day really well. A banana from 30 it was. But yeah, no, a good effort from the back 6 or 7 from Vic Metro. We'll move over to the WA side of things now, and I'll let you take the lead. Fred Rodriguez was one who really impressed throughout the day. I thought every time he got the ball, it looked like something was going to happen. Yeah, he probably unlucky not to get a mention in the last game. He sparked a little bit in the second half against SA and had some really nice moments. But he's a good size, provides really good run on the outside of the contest, has really good vision with his kicking, was able to switch it a couple of times, clean hands out of traffic. A pretty neat and well-balanced midfielder for WA. Loved his ability to just keep it moving up the line with his kicking. Thought he didn't really put a foot wrong and just put together a really consistent four-quarter performance against Metro, whereas he's had those kind of glimpses in previous games. So it was a really well-rounded performance. You talk about a consistent four-quarter performance. I thought Jackson Artemis did that really well and just executed his role really well. I know you talk about the way Murphy Reid is able to do that consistently for Vic Metro. I thought that was something which really stood out for him. He was prominent and involved in a lot of what WA were doing when it was going right for them, and was a key pillar for them as well when it was probably going against them. He did remain in and around the contest and was quite prominent as well, but particularly his first half I noticed. So that was really good to see. Luke Urquhart was the leading disposal getter on the ground, and his ability to just get himself into ball-winning positions I really liked. He's clearly really smart. His running patterns lend themselves really well to the way the game was played. He just let himself down with some finishing polish. Yeah, he did, and we got question on our 5-4-3-2-1. He didn't make it in, and it was just that disposal efficiency. It really lets him down. He turns it over quite a lot, which is it's such an obvious fix though, which I think is the good thing, because otherwise his ability, his contest work is so strong, and like you said, he gets himself into positions where he can easily win the footy. So it was just, and it's been a trend for him. It's his disposal efficiency that has let him down. It's that last kick inside 50 that he'll shank it, and it leads to turnovers. So if he's able to fix that up, tidy that up a little bit, does his chances the world of good, because he's quite ready built for a senior environment if he was to get there.
Malachi Champion probably has some question marks about whether he's senior built just because he is 172 centimetres, but he did his chances no harm at all with a 3-goal performance. He started like a house on fire, and every time the ball was in his hands, it felt like he was going to kick a goal or set one up.
He's got the same, X factor as a Nick Watson or a Isaac Kako. It's just probably his impact is felt less in the middle of the ground compared to someone like a Kako. You feel like he'll have terrific moments. He kicks 3 goals, but what's he do outside of those 3 goals? It's limited compared to other small forwards in the crop.
Work rate, yeah.
But he has got the same X factor. Like I said, I mean, I think what you noted, we both noted that his work rate I think it was his second goal, pushes up all the way from D50 inside forward 50. I mean, he does the little things
do that
quite
more consistently.
Well. Yeah, but he does it well at the same time. And 3 really nice goals. Kicked a really good dribble goal to start the game and a comfortable 3rd goal from a set shot. So he impacts on the scoreboard. That's undeniable. It's just that next step of, well, how does he impact further up the ground and use himself as a utility in transition, which I think will build. And hopefully he's able to show a bit more of that against Vic Country.
Bo Allen and Hugh Boxall quickly. How'd you see their games? I thought Hugh Boxall in particular was one that was really important for WA.
Yeah, Boxall was pretty good. Really good contested work in the end. Took a few good pack marks and worked really well around the ground as an outlet in transition for WA. And his vision moving up the ground, he hit up Champion really well in the second half. So he's been another one of WA's pretty consistent performers across the championships. And Bo Allen, I thought he was a bit sloppy to start. He didn't really seem to get into the game as well as he probably would have liked, but it was his strength out of the contest. It's his natural toughness to shrug off defenders, kicked a really nice goal. He ended up with 2 in the end, but it's his general work rate. I feel like he did, where he lacked in a bit of cleanliness with disposal, made up for it in his work rate around the contest in the end. And yeah, it was an okay game for him, but he's definitely can reach another level quite easily.
Yeah.